website on the owencountyteaparty.org site. So there's a link on there to his blog. Next up, we have someone who's going to be talking about what Andy touched on. And this is Beth Jones to be talking about the Fourth Amendment ruling.
Hi everybody. It's really good to see you here, and it's nice to know there's so many people that still care about our country and the direction that it's going in. I was going to say, Andrew said that the rapture didn't happen, I guess, but I looked up and Christy wasn't out here, and it scared me for a minute because I was like, well, if Christy's gone, we're in trouble, because Christy's pretty saintly. Okay, Andrew touched on what has happened this past week, which is a very serious matter that we all need to do something immediately, and it's pretty important. He already told you what the Fourth Amendment says, that we have the right to not be searched without any cause. But there were 3 justices on our Indiana Supreme Court, and I want you to remember their names because we need to vote them out the next time they come up. Justices David, Shepard, and Sullivan. There was a court case that came to the Supreme Court where a man did not want a cop to come in, and the cop felt like he needed to come into his house. He shoved the cop up against the wall, and he was prosecuted for that. Even though the cop did not have probable cause, he didn't have a warrant to come into the man's house. Well, the Supreme Court took that a step further and said, from now on, guess what? You don't have the right to prevent a cop from coming into your house. Even if he doesn't have any reason to come into your house, he can come in. I want to read exactly what that court said. In sum, we hold that in Indiana, the right to reasonably resist an unlawful police entry into a home is no longer recognized under Indiana law. Accordingly, the trial court's failure to give Barnes proffered jury instruction on this right was not error. In other words, you don't have the right. We don't recognize your right to defend your home from a cop that is just going to come in just because he wants to come in, just because he has a uniform. So I want to tell you what the implications of this ruling is to you. This is not a law. This is a ruling that the Supreme Court, this is case law now. These are the implications, what will happen to you because of this ruling. A police can enter your home without any warrant, without probable cause, and even without your knowledge or consent. So you may be gone. Right now, they could be searching your house, and that's not against the law now. Who knows? Maybe they are. I don't. But that's one thing. Another thing that can come from this is I could pose as a police officer. I could come to your door and say, I am a police officer. You need to let me in right now. If you resist me, then you could be arrested. I mean, if I was a real cop. So what are you going to do? Just let a complete stranger into your home? And then if I was a criminal, what's going to happen to you? Are you going to be burglarized? Are you going to be harmed in some way? If someone says they're a police officer, you must let them into your home, and you can't resist them. So that opens a lot of doors where people can abuse that. Another thing, a corrupt police officer might take advantage of this situation. You could have evidence planted in your house somehow. You could be bullied or intimidated if there's some corrupt cop that wants to take an advantage of this ruling to bully or intimidate you for some reason. There's nothing you can do about it. And then there was a sheriff Sheriff Hartman, it was his name, in Newton County, and he has been quoted as saying that he will now conduct random door-to-door home searches if he thinks it's necessary. And there's nothing that can stop him. Our cops, I think we've got some great cops here. I don't have anything against law enforcement officers. I think they do a great service for us. But if there comes a bad egg, there's nothing to stop them from saying, all right, I'm going to search all of this street right here. I don't care if you've never committed a crime. I'm going to just go into your house and search your house. And what happens if a law pops up all of a sudden about guns? Are they going to come into your home and just take your guns? They have that right now. They can just come in and do whatever they want. Now, the good news is you can take them to court. If you have, maybe $2,000 or $3,000 just sitting around, you can take them to court and hire a lawyer and sue them. And won't that be great when, when there's nothing else you can do and your privacy has been violated? But if you don't have that money, you're out of luck. If you don't have money to hire an attorney, oh well, they just did what they're going to do and there's nothing you can do about it. If something happens, they think you pulled a gun on them, it's dark or something, and they shoot you, it's not going to help to be able to take them to civil court. You're going to be dead. So I really want to stress to you the importance of this law, how it affects all of us, especially considering that just a few years ago, Janet Napolitano calls a lot of us here terrorists, veterans, people who believe in gun rights. If we're now the terrorists, how's that going to pan out with this new ruling? So I want to show you about what's being done. I want to tell you what you can do. Right now what is being done, Mike Young, he's one of our representatives, he's filing an amicus brief, which is essentially, it asks the Supreme Court of Indiana to reconsider its ruling or to kind of narrow it down to make it not quite affect all of us, because we are law-abiding citizens, so it shouldn't affect us. He's also going to try to draft legislation to change the Indiana self-defense laws so that there will be a law protecting us against this. But that's not going to happen until the next session, which is the next session of the Indiana Senate is not for a long time still. That's one thing that's going on. And then Attorney General Greg Zeller, he's calling for a rehearing of the case. So that also is possible. So there might be something good come out of this, but in the meantime, we don't know when. Right now, we're unprotected. Right now, they can do whatever they want. So what we need you to do, and one of the whole reasons we're here is not just to sit and listen, but we're here to take this and do something. Because each of us has power, and this federal government, the federal and state government, only have the power that we give them. And if we give them this power, what else are they going to take? What more of our freedoms are they going to take incrementally? So I wanted to, I printed out a pamphlet that I'm going to give to whoever needs one. What it is, it says on one side, the federal office holders, that's not for this issue because this is a state issue, but on the other side, we have the phone numbers, the addresses, the emails of our governor, our senator, our representative, Supreme Court, and the Attorney General. And there's also on the bottom a petition that you can go online and sign where you can state how you feel. And I think whatever we can do, if we have to call, all of us have to call every day, every number on this, that's what we need to do until this law is overturned in some way, because every day it's not overturned, it's affecting our lives and it's putting us and our families at risk. So I want to have my sons, if you wear the pants in the family, raise your hands. Guys, if you don't have this information, if you would raise your hand, you don't disregard that. If you need one of these, raise your hand and my sons will come and give you one of these. So that's one thing you can do. Call, email, write. As many people as you can, as much as you can, as often as you can. Now another thing, what I touched on earlier, Justice Stephen David, he's up for re-election to the Supreme Court in 2012. You need to remember that name. You need to tell your neighbors, your family, everybody you know, and you need to tell them to vote this guy out. He's one that voted for this. His name is Justice Stephen David. And then one last thing. There's a rally. It's not a Tea Party rally, but it's a rally of all concerned citizens in Indiana. It's going to be held at the State House, the South Lawn, this Wednesday, May 25th, and it starts at 12 noon. And I know we all have a million things going on, but do you not think this is really important? Do you not think that this is worth half a day to go up and show that you mean business? And I'd like to encourage everybody to go to that. If you would like to go and you want to carpool, you can see me afterwards. If you have a car and you are going to go up and you're willing for other people to ride with you, come and see me and we'll work it out where we can meet, we can ride up, show that we're not going to stand for this, and then come back. And like I said, I know we all have a million things that we could be doing, but this is a very, very important issue, and I think that we need to start taking a stand, or, we're going to give up everything. Our freedoms are going to be on. Yeah, Chrissy.
You know what? The founders had many things they needed to be doing, but they understood what was important first. And
Yeah.
everybody that has something going on Wednesday, if this doesn't get brought the way it's supposed to be, if it doesn't get rescinded, then everything you're doing won't matter.
Right. Yeah.
Who were the three judges?
Those judges were David, Shepard, and Sullivan. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you do call your representatives, you can tell, if you want to say the Barnes versus Indiana case, that is the name of the Supreme Court case. Yeah. Oh.
Do you know the reasoning behind this? I mean, besides there being communists and fascists and left wing, what started all this?
Well, it's all a part of the nanny state. It's all a part of violence. They don't want violence. So they think that if we make this law now, then there'll be less violence.
I tell you, but when your neighbors start getting shot in their own home, you're going to see all hell break loose.
Yeah. There's going to be real violence then. Yeah.
I respectfully disagree that the motive is violence. The motive is control.
I agree.
And this is not just happening in Indiana. You have a condition or an event in Pima County, Arizona, where the cops come in illegally to a man's house, and he made a mistake of pointing a rifle and they shot him 40 times. There is a case just ruled on by the United States Supreme Court out of Kentucky, where the cops entered illegally, and that the state U.S. Supreme Court voted 8-1 in favor to hold the cops blameless. And so this is not just an Indiana problem.
Right. That's just, the violence is just what the court says. The court says, oh, well, we just don't want there to be violence. But we know that they will get every lick of power that they can get their hands on, as much power as we let them get. Yeah.
I might be all wrong. I was in the understanding that this is not law because the legislators have not voted this in. Our Constitution says no to this. It's just that these three justices have ruled against the Constitution, but it's not law in Indiana yet, right?
I believe that's case law. It's yeah, let Andrew, go ahead.
Well, case law isn't law. So she's absolutely right. The law is already written. We don't need any new laws. What we need to do is decide whether we want to have laws as written or not. And if we do want to have laws as written, we have to decide if they're going to be enforced in the proper way, and that would be through the governor. And if he doesn't do it, then we take up, I guess, step 2. But I think first step is to ask for rule of law from the governor. And, that's the proper, annulment actually is You know, I didn't get to talk about this, of course, but annulment is a proper remedy for unconstitutional law.
Oh, do I